If you're considering solar panels in 2026, this video will help you decide which one is the best one for you. G'day everyone, Dan and Matt here again from GI Energy. Today we're talking about the best solar panel in 2026. Solar panels have come and gone, haven't they, in Australia over the years? I remember a statistic that we talk about all the time. If you go back to 2013 to 2020 and compare the list of Clean Energy Council approved solar panels in Australia, 83% of them would have disappeared in that time. It hasn't been quite as crazy as that since then. That was that period of when the industry was really peaking, and then it's sort of dipped off a little bit. But that statistic just goes to show that you have to be careful what you choose, because if you had one of those 83%, you would no longer have a warranty, basically, unless you fancied chasing a company in China and trying to claim a warranty that way, which would be pretty challenging. So it's a really important one. With batteries being really popular these days, it's one that gets overlooked a bit as well.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you'll have a consultation with a customer and it gets really deep into that conversation before the panel's even been mentioned, and they don't even ever ask you. You kind of have to bring it up with them, which is very different to how it was a couple of years ago. It was all people talked about. So we've picked our top three. We've had a pretty long conversation about this, and I guess it's fair to say that this is very subjective. It's our opinion, so everybody's going to have their own opinion. But it is an opinion based on our collective industry experience. I've been doing this since 2009. You've been doing it for a very long time as well. We've both seen a lot of good, bad and ugly stuff in the industry. And we can install basically any panel that we feel is reputable. So if you come to us for a quotation, you don't need to have one of these three necessarily. And we've both got different solar panels on our roof.
Yep.
And if we installed tomorrow in a new home, we'd probably have different panels again.
I reckon we might do.
I think we might do. So it's horses for courses.
Yeah.
So just because we've rated one number one here doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be number one for everybody.
No, for sure.
That being said, we have gone 3, 2, 1. So number 3, who made the cut?
Number 3 got Trina.
Trina Solar.
Yeah. Hell of a panel. And
Great
it might be not a fair service to put it third, to be fair.
It's been really tough to decide, hasn't it, to be fair?
Yeah.
It really has.
And I think it's important to note there, like, again, as you mentioned, I think we'd have a different one on the roof, which we'll get to. And this may come down to how many panels you can fit and a few other variables anyway. But I think the reason Trina in that top 3, and for us probably always will be around that, somewhere in that top 3, it's more just, they've been around for so long.
Yeah.
Like 1997, I can't think of a panel that's been around longer.
And been in Australia for a long time.
I was about to say that still have that presence here in Australia, that have been testing panels here since 2008 at Alice Springs. So that's pretty good. And we always try and be pretty upfront about stuff when they've had an issue, and they had a recall a decade ago. I've never seen another solar manufacturer handle something as well. And I think that's really where you build that credibility, and then installers can trust, okay, if something goes wrong, which it can with anything, at least I've got the backing of them. The wholesalers that bring them in have been around forever as well. They're very secure and very helpful, so it just builds that trust of good installer, good distributor, good manufacturer. They're the 3 things you really want from a panel, especially if you're looking maybe more on that budget side. I think if you're going a bit more top end, you're obviously paying for a few other things potentially, but value for money, I don't think there's a better one probably if you're going purely on that side.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I 100% agree with everything you said. I think they're great. They've won a few awards for being very bankable. One of the things that we're quite firm on is choosing panels that have a reputable warranty. Obviously, going back to that statistic I mentioned before, a lot of them disappear. Trina are very bankable, and they've won various awards over the years for that specific part of their business. So that alone for me puts them up there in the top few panels around.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's the real world efficiency, which we'll talk about along these. We're not going to go into the technical details. It's more so just what we see. So we've installed these panels. We can see the monitoring, and they just work really well in Australia.
Yeah, they do. And yeah, as you said, when you look at that monitoring, there was a site I was looking at the other day. We pretty much had to cut a south-facing roof in Queensland, and the output was better than my system. Mine are a few years old, but I've got a mix of north, east and west. And so to see it obviously with less than optimum conditions, and it's still pumping out more power than we we thought it would do.
Yeah, that's great.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, really good. And it was really hard to choose between them and number 2 as well.
Yeah.
So the second panel was, I guess you could say, pipped them at the post for the second spot.
Yeah.
Who was number 2?
Gone AIKO number 2.
AIKO number 2.
I might have said 1. But
again, it was close again.
But and again, you could go in any order with these 3 really, depending on what your requirements are. But I think AIKO at the moment just feel like they're at the forefront in terms of the technology of the panel. Obviously, they're raising the bar in terms of the power class as well. So they seem to be continuing to try and push that up a limit in just how efficient they can get that panel in the same physical size for a residential home, around that sort of 1750, 1130, 1140 panel that obviously everyone's trying to keep it to. So they were the first to obviously do the all back contact shade optimization a couple of years ago, which has obviously been a very popular panel in Australia. They do an all black and the white back sheet, so depending on the aesthetics of the home as well. So they've got the 2 options there. So yeah, it's been really well received in Australia, and they've gathered a really good market share. And for us, when we just see it going back to that monitoring, they're producing a heap of power. That's what you want to see, really, isn't it? And if you've got maybe a little bit less space on the roof, that's sometimes the go-to that we'll have there. Obviously, just to raise that overall system size that touch more. So yeah, definitely well positioned in second place.
That's the big one for me. I do recommend AIKO panels when people have a roof that you want to just get as much on as you can. Maybe it's a bit smaller or a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
That's a huge benefit, because you can get another 0.5 kilowatt on the roof, maybe more.
Yeah.
And that for me is a massive feature, because they always seem to be one step ahead, don't they, with the power class?
Yeah.
Whether it's 25 watts or whatever it is difference, you do that over 20 panels or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It adds up.
Yeah, it does.
So number 1.
It's not for me to introduce, mate. This
Hotly
is yours.
contested. I know we did speak about this for a long time, and the number 1 panel for 2026 for us is Phono Solar.
It's been the number 1 for you forever.
It has for me. Probably going to be an unpopular choice with some people, because the branding's not there.
Yeah.
So one thing that we've spoken about, and we always try and be honest about pros and cons.
Yeah.
Many years ago, Phono were a little bit behind with their tech. They just produced a great panel, but every time someone had a new power class or some new technology, they were a little bit slow catching up, and that was one of the things that we were always just a very little bit critical of. Even though, to be fair, the previous models or the current model for them was still absolutely smashing it in the real world. But it's all about the company for me.
Yeah.
Going back to that statistic again, for me personally, installing for friends.
Yeah.
If Phono have a good panel currently, which they do, that's what I would recommend. It's just that their company's really big. The way I always think about it is, if you're a panel-only manufacturer and you're in a turbulent industry, which we are, and the volume dips in the solar industry, that's like a table with one leg. You can push it over pretty easily. If you had lots of diversified revenue streams within that overall parent organization, it's going to be pretty hard to push that table over. And that's what they have, probably better than anybody else in the industry. So their parent company has so many different divisions across agricultural machinery, container ships, obviously renewable energy in various formats. They built the world's largest hydro power station in China. They make parts for different cars, they make lawnmowers. It just goes on and on and on. So they're not dependent on solar panel only revenue. And that to me is just such a massive tick in the box. Now obviously they've got a great panel, a current panel, which is ticking all the boxes from a tech perspective. And when you look at them in the real world, again, they're just unbelievable performance. They really are.
No, I know. You've told me for 10 years.
Well, you've seen it yourself.
I know.
I mean, we were looking at one in. We were comparing one in the suburb I live in, and I forget the exact. We'll put it up on the screen, but it was a very similar size system.
Yeah.
And the orientation of the Phono solar panel was not as good.
Yeah.
And it was doing like 20% more or something, and they were installed around the same day. So that's real world data. That's not data sheets. And we've been installing them for a really long time.
Yeah.
And we've just never had any issues with them.
No. They're pretty good, mate.
What more can you say?
Well, I've been trying to say a lot of stuff for a few years, but no, we've obviously installed heaps of them. I've used them lots and lots.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the only drawback I ever had was more just around if we pitch that product and that's what we want to install because someone's looking for a bankable company. It used to be quite hard to find a lot of information.
Yeah.
That was probably more so. There's a lot of other panels that are very popular that do really, really good marketing and spend a fortune on it that look a lot more glossy, you know what I mean, to the eye. And we live in an era now where everything's just about how it looks.
Yeah.
So if you Google that product at that point, you may not have got too much information, so you may question in your mind, are they that big or are they that popular? But as you said, it's a very small component of a number of diversified industries that they work in. So they've never been too focused on putting loads of money behind the market, and they just let the panel talk, you know what I mean? And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. That's the branding and the marketing is not as good as the previous two panels we mentioned, or a lot of others.
Yeah.
So if as a consumer, you might make the decision to go somewhere else because of that online presence. But for us in the industry, knowing what we know and seeing what we see, for me, it's Phono 2026.
Fair.
We did want to mention one other panel though that we just narrowly missed out.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that one? Since
Yeah.
I've been talking for a while about Phono.
Yeah, we also install a lot of Canadian solar. We have for more than a decade as well, almost 15 years actually.
Yeah.
They've been around since 2001, so quite a similar story to Trina there as well. So been around a very long time, tested their panel for a very long time. So you could arguably have put either in third place, realistically. I think because we've used more Trina, possibly from that side, and obviously as I mentioned where there was an issue, it was dealt with really, really well. So that probably lifted them up. Not that Canadian have had to do that, so it's probably another contentious one I suppose from that side. But Canadian Solar, yeah, there's a panel we install a lot of as well. Very good performance from the panel. Everything about it is pretty much ticking the same boxes. For this video, we've just gone with Trina.
Yeah, well, we talked about that for a while as
Yeah.
well, wasn't it? And one of the reasons was the way that Trina had responded to that recall many
Yeah.
years ago. But the other one was also that they'd got those awards for being very bankable. And it just seems that the people that are very switched on around finance, like Bloomberg, they probably know more than you and I do about how to assess a balance sheet and a P&L for a company the size of Trina or Canadian. And they're winning those awards.
Yeah.
So if that was what my argument was for, look, I think they probably should be just above
Yeah.
Canadian. But if you've got a Canadian solar panel on your roof, still great product.
Yeah, and we'll be installing loads more, I'm sure,
Yeah.
as well, because they are pretty awesome. And again, it's another one that a lot of people see and obviously research. And as you mentioned, we're happy to install a quality panel that meets our requirements. That is one of them, and
Yeah.
there's probably maybe one or two others. But other than that, as you mentioned as well, because everyone's focused on batteries, the panel gets forgotten about, really, doesn't it? And it's
Yeah.
such an integral part of the system because
Yeah.
that's what's generating the power to fill the battery. That you want to obviously have as many years as possible at the maximum output. So, yeah, it was definitely very tight there, and you could easily have slotted that one in, I'm pretty sure as well.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered off a fair bit there. If you've got any questions about any of those panels, hit us up in the comments, or if you'd like to get in touch, we can do a proposal for you for obviously no cost or obligation, where we can place some of these panels on your roof and do a simulation to show you how they would work for your home or your business. We'll put a downloadable battery guide resource into the description as well, which I think a lot of people have found helpful. And other than that, thank you for watching.
Thank you.